Right, folks, okay, so next video on the series, and today we're going to be talking about endurance training. So, endurance training, you're going to get three different types. First of all, you've got your aerobic endurance, which is where oxygen is supplied to the muscles. It's cardio work, or it's elevating your heart rate over a longer period of time. So it's producing that oxygen to the muscles because you are working for a longer duration. Anaerobic, you are working to shorter periods of time, so it's a short bursts, and this is when no oxygen is supplied to the muscles because you're only working for short periods of time. And then, last but not least, you've also got your muscular endurance, which is your muscles working over a prolonged period of time. So you're maybe talking about between 60 and 90 seconds, working a time under tension. For any given resistance training exercise, you've got your circuit training, you've got boot camps, pardon me, you've got anything sort of 15 reps and above. When it comes to resistance training, would be classed as more muscular endurance. Anything below that, you're kind of tapping into hypertrophy and also a bit of strength work. So first up, we've got aerobic endurance. So what is aerobic endurance? So like I was saying, so this provides oxygen to the muscles because you're working for longer periods of time. So your intensity is between 70 to 100% of your maximum heart rate. And the benefits of this are an increased VO2 max, which is basically your CRE levels, your stamina, increased myoglobin content, and lactate threshold. It means you can endure this pain, if you like, if that's the right word. You can endure this pain, this sort of lactic acid build up for a longer period of time, meaning you can then work more efficiently for longer periods of time, as well as injure yourself for training for a bit longer, which only leads to more gains. And this is done through the likes of your continuous training, so the likes of your long, slow duration, low to moderate intensity, 60 to 80% of maximum heart rate, fartlek training. For anyone that doesn't know what fartlek training is, so this is like a mixture. So say you're maybe working for 20 minutes and you're working it to 30 seconds walk, 30 seconds jog, 30 seconds sprint, and then repeating that process. And that's because you're working on different types of not so much endurance, but different types of runs. So you're replicating what would be used in a game like situation. If you're maybe talking, I don't know, footballers or rugby, where they're not just jogging at the same pace throughout the game, but they're having to change their speed every so often to keep up with the demands of the game. So this would be classed as your aerobic system. So this could also be used for, this would be called aglycolytic. I always get mixed up when saying that name. Aglycolytic is when you are working to between 10 to 90 seconds effort. So anything above that is your aerobic endurance. Now, they can both be classed as aerobic, but your aglycolytic is between your 10 to 90 seconds for effort. Anything above that, you're tapping into aerobic endurance, you're working for longer periods of time, and you could actually develop that over into marathons, half marathons, where it's not just 90 seconds and you're done. You're working for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4, 5, 6 hours. So you need your energy stores to be there to keep up with the demands of the activity that you are doing. Next up, we've got anaerobic endurance. So, yeah, in a nutshell there. So this is working for short periods of time and it provides no oxygen to the muscles because of this. You're working at maximum intensity and the duration you can expect to be between anything from 0 to 10 seconds. The benefits of this are force production. So you think of things like your vertical jump, your squat, your deadlift, your bench, your 1 rep max. Because as just one short burst, this would be known as anaerobic endurance. So you get the resynthesis of ATP levels, which obviously benefits you working for that short period of time, meaning you can produce more force against a weight, as well as building up a solid sort of base for being able to produce that force as well. And what I mean by that is, so you're re-emphasising ATP levels. Your ATP levels are what produces energy. Now, if you've got a higher energy balance when you go to do the likes of your vertical jump, your 1 rep max, your anything at all really that replicates power or strength, you've got the energy to follow through with that rep or that jump or whatever it may be. I mean, there's more muscle fibre recruitment for that lift because of the greater distance you get or the greater weight you're carrying, which then in turn builds muscle, and it would be crossover more into strength training, that one. So yeah, we've talked about glycolytic in the last slide, so that's between your sort of 10, 15 to 90 seconds at intensity above 85% of your lactic threshold. And the benefits of this are increased motor unit recruitment, increase in galactic enzymes, and increase in glycolytic enzymes. Now that maybe seem a bit mumbo jumbo to you. So in English, increased motor unit recruitment is basically better cognitive function when you're doing exercises or you're doing runs or sprints. It's basically how quick your brain gets a message to your muscles or your joints, your tendons to make that movement. Increase in glycolytic enzymes again, so it's just more force for working during that period of time. More force means you can work at a better intensity, means you're working more efficiently, and then in turn you're making better gains because you're working that slight bit harder. Next up, we've got muscular endurance. So this is one of my favourite ones, but you know, I'm more of a weights person, a resistance training person, than I'm a cardio person. But that's not to say neither of them is important, because they absolutely are. So your muscular endurance is your muscles working for over a long period of time. You can usually sort of balance it out to be about 60 to 70% of your 1 rep max per rep. So say your 1 rep max bench press is 100 kilograms, doing 60 kilograms per reps would be classed as more muscular endurance than anything else. So again, it's your body's ability to work for a longer period of time without hitting fatigue or without burning out too quickly. So what's the benefits of this? Well, it helps you maintain a healthy body weight, and in simple terms, all that means is the more reps you're doing, the more calories you're burning. So the greater the rep range, the more calories you're going to burn, and that's just through movement patterns. Reduce risk of injury because of your body's ability to endure the training you're doing and the resistance you're working against for a long period of time. Because without this endurance, you can start to notice joints coming out of place or posture being wrong with an exercise, fatigue starting to kick in, posture and form starts to go out the window by this point by the time you maybe hit reps 15, 16, 17. And this is where injuries occur, so that's why we reduce the risk of injuries, as well as stronger muscles. So I know a lot of people, I know anyway, wouldn't class muscular endurance as strength training, but through my experience, and this is me been training for, 9 years now, makes me feel old. Training for 9 years now, and I've worked through all the rep ranges in my time. I've done I've worked up to reps as high as 100, 50, 20, 25. I've worked as low as 1s, 2s and 3s as well. But I still do find that I can increase my strength and I can build muscle on a higher rep range, although you would say 15 to sort of 20 plus would be more so muscular endurance. And as it builds up your endurance, so your body can withstand that weight for that period of time you're doing it for. But also noticed over the weeks as well, because I was repeating that program, that I was getting a bit stronger also, and I was able to compete at a higher weight than what I'd done beforehand for the same sort of rep ranges. So that not only does that indicate an increase in my muscular endurance, but it indicates an increase in my strength as well. So how would you train for endurance then? So you've obviously got all three different types. I've just went through the benefits of them, what they do, the positives. So how would we train for them now? How would we add them into a training program? So first of all, you get your aerobic training, so that's things like your long distance running, your fartlek training. You've actually got your HIIT training in there as well that you could be using. Now you see that crosses over with anaerobic as well. So your long distance runs, yep, absolutely. So you're talking your God, even 1k, 2k, 3k, 4k, 5, well, whatever it is, half marathons, whatever distance you want to go, it's a long, slow duration. Again, your body's got to be able to provide the oxygen to the muscles for that time to be able to, for you to keep up with the demands of what your body's actually trying to complete. And the fartlek training I've went over. And now the reason I've put HIIT training in here, although it's high intensity interval training, and you are working for short bursts, so that would be classed as anaerobic endurance. But say you're doing a circuits class maybe, and it's on for half an hour. Although you're doing short bursts, you're actually working for half an hour. Well, we say you're maybe working 30 on, 30 off, just to make it easy. So really, you're working for 15 minutes during that full class. And working for 15 minutes doesn't cross over into anaerobic endurance. That is now aerobic endurance. So there's a very fine line there. If you want to be working anaerobic, then you want to be working to say 30 seconds tops. No, sorry, not 30 seconds, 10 seconds tops, and then taking a good 2-3 minutes rest before you're ready to go again. And this can be done through the likes of maybe sprint training. Again, it's like your 1 rep maxes, it's your vertical jumps, all these things where it's a short burst of pace or a short strength burst, and then you give yourself the appropriate rest time, so as you can re-synthesize these ATP levels, so as you can so as you can recover properly in between sets, and so as you can give it 100%, because you need to be working at 100% for your anaerobic levels to actually be able to kick in and work. So that's how they cross over. Just one would be shorter rest periods than the other. That would be classed as aerobic, and your anaerobic would be classed as maybe work for your 10 seconds tops, then take a good 2, 3, 4, maybe not even 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes even rest before you go and hit your next one. And again, that can be done through like your 100-meter sprint, or God, even shorter distance than that as well. After that, you've got your muscular endurance. So dead simple, this one. You can go circuits, you can go boot camps, you can go kettlebells, high rep training, basically working for a longer period of time, using resistance training. So that's more or less it in a nutshell for your muscular endurance. Dead simple, that one, as it's more resistance training, and your aerobic and your anaerobic is more for CRE levels. So what is the benefits of endurance training? Well, you're going to be a lot fitter, because again, you can. My definition of fitness would be your body's ability to complete a certain exercise or a certain workout in the most efficient way possible without, heart rate would need to be elevated, of course, but without feeling massively breathless or massively unfit afterwards, where you feel like you're maybe going to keel over. You want to be able to do these efficiently and maybe not so much feel good afterwards. Know you've worked out, but you shouldn't also feel like that sort of heart attack stage either. So yeah, it's ability to work for longer periods of time, and it's your ability to work at higher intensity as well. So like I mentioned before, especially the muscular endurance, I could see that my endurance was getting better. I could see that I was working more efficiently at 20 reps. So what did I do? Up to intensity. I took the weight up, and I was maybe doing 20 kilos on a flat dumbbell press. I upped it to 22s, and that was me working more efficiently. That was me doing the same exercise, same reps, same volume, but at a higher weight. So I was progressively getting better at that. So I wasn't just getting more endurance out of it, I was actually getting stronger as well, meaning I could work at a higher intensity. So when designing a program for endurance, it's got to meet the needs of the sport and athlete, if that's what you're tailoring it towards. So, for instance, Usain Bolt, he's going to be working off vertical jumps for power. He's going to be working off 1 rep max squats for strengthening his legs. He's going to be working to his 100 meter sprints because that is the sport he does. That is his field event when he goes and competes at the Olympics. So he's got to be sports specific. But I wouldn't then go and give this to, say, Mo Farah. It was just the first one that came to my head there. He's a marathon runner. Why does he need the power in his legs? Why does he need big legs for doing a 1 rep max squat? He doesn't. Why does he need to be able to vertical jump? Why does he need the power in his legs? Again, he doesn't. What he needs is the CRE levels and the ability to produce enough oxygen to the blood. So you're going to get him out doing half marathons. You're going to get him out doing marathons. You're going to get him out doing circuit training, HIIT training. You're going to get him working for lower intensity but a bigger duration of time, so as it's more specific to the sport he actually does or the field event he actually competes in. So you can manipulate the volume intensity for progressive overload, like I just mentioned before in the last slide. So I was working 2 sets of 20 on a flat dumbbell press. I was doing 20 kilograms, and then from there up to intensity I turned it to 22 because I feel like it was not easy, but it was getting more comfortable for me, and it was time to step out of that comfort zone and progressively overload my training. But manipulate the volume as well. So that was 4 sets of 20, take up to 4 sets of 25 for endurance, or take up to 5 sets of 20. Whatever you want to do to just increase that volume and that total tonnage. So again, you're showing progression and you're constantly overloading your training. Another thing to think about, which we're not really tapped into, is how many sessions you're going to be doing on this for your endurance training, because it can be very, very demanding. There's delayed onset muscle soreness, especially if you're going out runs. You've got the likes of your ankle and your knee mobility, because this is areas, any sort of joints really, are filled with tendons, ligaments, and if these haven't been worked or stretched or used properly in a while, especially if you're just new to doing the endurance training, then you can expect to get wee niggles and pains in these areas because it's your body's way of saying, whoa, I've never done this before, what are you actually doing to me here? So you've got this to think about as well. So maybe an idea is to work off a sort of once a week, and if you really do want to work on your endurance training, then you can tend to up it from there. I probably wouldn't do any more than 3 endurance sessions per week. It's important that your body recovers, because if you're overtraining, then you're more prone to injury, which I can only speak from experience on. And I've done plenty of times, and it's the likes of your ligaments and your tendons that are going to be the ones that go because they've not been used in that way before. So yeah, keep it sport specific as well. So if you are doing it for a specific sport, so again, your endurance can work into like conditioned games. If you're basketball, it could be 2v2, 1v1, working on more anaerobic, or you could be 5v5 games with a condition in them. So keep them sport specific and tailor it more so towards you. And I kind of went over that in the last slide anyway, the likes of what the athlete or what yourself is actually looking to do, or what sport you're in, or what type of endurance you need for your day-to-day life. So to work to our percentages and intensities to actually make sure we're working hard enough, what we can do is determine your maximum aerobic speed. So your maximum aerobic speed is how high an intensity you can work at without dipping into your anaerobic systems, your anaerobic energy systems. So the way we work that out is your distance divided by your time. So if you've done 1500 meters and you've done that flat out and it taken you 300 seconds, then your maximum aerobic speed would be 5 meters per second. Anything above that, you're not working into endurance training anymore. You're not working into aerobic endurance training anymore. You're then working into anaerobic endurance. So this is where this can divide that fine line of what sort of energy system and what endurance type of training you're actually diving into. So again, this could be done through any. You could do a 12-minute run and take your distance, or you could do like I said, a 1500 metre there. There's a few different things you could do just to work out what your maximum aerobic speed is, but pretty straightforward. So the key points for you to take away here: keep it sport specific. So we've been over that. Don't give a marathon runner one rep max test to do, because it's stupid, because they work for longer periods of time. They do not need that power or that strength. Don't mix aerobic and anaerobic up. They're very different from each other. One produces oxygen, one doesn't produce oxygen. One works for short periods of time, is quick bursts, higher intensity. One works at a lower intensity for longer periods of time. It's got to be timed right in the program, and again, this is all to do with injuries. So if you've been testing one rep maxes on bench squat, deadlift the day before, don't jump in and do a 10k the next day, because your central nervous system is going to take an absolute pounding. So just be careful of that as well, and take enough time in between sessions and allow yourself to recover. Use progressive overload just like we would do with weights. So again, maybe working on these aerobic endurance systems. If you're working to a 5k over time and you can get that in 25 minutes, right, okay, let's try and up the intensity and let's try and get it sub 25 next time. Try and get it under that 25 mark, and then that's progressive overload, because we'll progressively get better. We'll work to high intensity and we'll work a wee bit faster. So start at 100% at your maximum aerobic speed, and then just build volume from there. So like I said, if your maximum aerobic speed is 5 meters per second, work to that in whatever sort of endurance style training you're doing, and then just build on it from there and try and eventually build up that max aerobic speed, work to 110%, 120%, and then you're working into the sort of anaerobic levels. And folks, I think that's more or less me on this slide, or the next PowerPoint in the series. Just taking a quick look through my notes here in case there's anything else that I've missed out, but I think I've covered absolutely everything I wanted to. Yeah, been through absolutely everything. Right, okay then folks, that concludes today's slide. Today's PowerPoint. If there is anything else you would like to know, or there's anything you feel that I've maybe not went through in enough detail for you, then please do let me know, and I'm more than happy to answer your questions. But for now folks, have a lovely day, and I look forward to the next PowerPoint in the slide.